So we are going to have a go at making an ambient or glitch soundtrack, a sort of soundscape. At the top here we have links to things you can go and listen to. So Brian Eno is often credited with creating ambient, the whole genre. And what he wanted to do was to create music that was functional, that did something and was meant to do something. It wasn't just a creative act. This was designed to be interruptible and not to attract your attention. And travelling is always quite stressful, and so you don't want something that's too exciting. And his idea was, which you can read about in this paper here, was how music could and should be designed to do things. So you can learn more about the development of other ambient artists, and this here is a great visualization that you can zoom in, that shows how it all developed with chill out and ambient, and you can actually go in, and if we zoom in close enough, let's see if we can find, there we go. I can zoom in just by dragging, can I drag like this? Yeah. And all of these little squares give you different examples, so you can really go and explore how things. So we've got dark ambient here. What does that sound like? Oh no, that's krautrock. What we got here? Let's try. No, I can't click that one. Let's try come over here. There we go. So this is a more, what I would sort of think of as a film-like soundtrack, and it tells me the band and the track, the Hafler Trio. I've never heard of them. Something that could be in the background. So go and explore those and learn about that. Imagine that we're going to be creating something that might be a background track to a film, or to even down low as you were talking over something, explaining something. And so the first thing we're going to need is lots of sounds, and I always go to free sound, and you have to register here, but once you've registered you can download things. So if I wanted to create, let's think, a sort of natural seaside or woodland type texture, we've got these tracks here, and I'm looking for WAV files and MP3 files because they're seaside stereo. Let's listen to that one. Sounds a bit like noise. I guess they all will, won't they? Let's get one of these. Can't see which one I was playing. Here we go. This one. So I'm going to download one of these. Now, I can see this is 4 minutes long. This is something that I will need to edit later. And as ever, when I'm using other people's resources rather than my own recordings, I always click on my Google Keep Chrome extensions just to keep a little bookmark, so that if I do use this, I can say thank you and credit the person who gave me this sound, gave us all this sound to use for free easily. So seagulls, this might be better. 2 minutes long. Oh yeah. Ooh, there's a louder looking one here. Let's see what that's like. Seaside and Wales. Ooh, I quite like this. I'm tempted, even though it's I'm going to download it and keep a link to it. So I've got a couple of sounds. Maybe let's get a few more. Let's maybe find something unusual, like a frog. Have we got or a toad or something? Frogs forever. Funny frogs. Oh, I like that. Download. So I've got 3 sounds. They're slightly similar, aren't they? What's this Bangkok frog? Ooh. Okay, I'm going to go with that. So I've got 4 sounds now. Now quite often I might go and collect lots of different types of sounds, things that sound a little bit like, oh, a croaking. Oh, I like that. You can lose hours collecting sort of almost like little samples. So I've got some sounds. Now, when you start making different types of music, there's a completely different music format called MIDI, which is more like instructions to a synthesizer. Press the key down, lift the key up, hold, press the key down, lift the key up. And we might get into that in this, but let's for now just deal with with actual sounds, which is recorded sounds as opposed to sort of computer generated sounds. So let's see if I could find what else is natural. Can I find a fox? Fox hunting. Fox terrier. All sorts of different things. Let's hear the fox hunting. I quite like that effect. Going to download that. It's difficult at this point to keep a track of this. Fox located. I don't like fox hunting, but that might be just a useful sound. So we've got some more sounds. Let's see what else. So we're not going to get MIDI tracks just now, but we might come back to MIDIs because there are lots of different ways of now assembling those soundtracks. We could use a tool like Audacity, which is free to download. It's a desktop tool. So with Audacity, although we downloaded long files, we might just need small separate samples, or we might need to process it slightly. And you can actually do an awful lot of work just in Audacity. So I'm going to prepare some of my, and they've all got long horrible names. So I'm going to come into this whale one now. And I can see here that it's a long file and it's about 1 minute, 2 minutes long. And I might just want this bit here. Let's just have a look. Or listen rather. Okay. Let's maybe hear this bit. That's got a very bass wail underneath it. And if I wanted to play this as a loop, and I might want to use it as a loop in my creation, I can hold Shift key and play. So quite often if you're generating some, that sounds quite nice. So I'm going to leave this this file as it is, and I'm just going to copy this out. I'm going to copy, make a new file, and paste it in. And I can use these zoom out tools to sort of make it bigger and smaller so we can see more of it. Now there are lots of really great things. Copying and pasting is one great thing that you can do in Audacity. But let's say for example I might take this bit, copy and paste here, but then this bit that's selected I might reverse it. Can't see where reverse is. So now if we rewind and play this, we have the first bit. I'm not sure what this is going to sound like. Almost the same. Okay. Right, so I want this to be sounding more spooky and atmospheric. So one thing that quite often is great fun to do is to let's firstly apply some reverb to this maybe. And reverb is the sound as if you were playing in a large room or a cathedral or a hall, and you can play with all of these. So let's try see what reverb does and see what it sounds like. Don't know if you hear that. It now sounds like it's echoing around a larger hall, and I can add too much reverb quite easily. But one of the fun things that you can also do is to add it's called pole stretch, there it is. And that essentially stretches out the sound, so it takes up more time. So a stretch factor of 7. Okay, let's see what that gives us. So now we have a much louder sound, but the pitches and notes are all held for longer. So let's have a listen. So this is where I'm intending to go with. This is a spooky atmospheric sound, and at this, and please, do explore the other effects. There is you can do fade ins and fade outs. Compression makes quiet bits louder and loud bits quieter, so that the sound is more evenly distributed. What else? Phaser gives it that sort of hippie effect. And there are lots of strange things you can do, but mainly I use Audacity for getting the bits that I want into the files I want. So in this file here, very much like working with images, I want to save this project file so I can come back and work on it. So I save this project, and I'm going to call this okay. I'm going to make a new folder for it. Let's put it in my 3 things folder. Make a new folder for it called Sound Effects, and I'm going to call this Spooky Waves, and this is an Audacity project. So that's a file I can come back to and continue working on. But for working with other programs, I need to sort of create an exported file, and typically I would do this in a WAV or MP3. So you can see there's the project file and the spookywaves.wav. Okay, so that's a file with all that information in. So now we can start to use another tool called Soundplant. And Soundplant is a brilliant tool for just firing off and manipulating samples as if you're playing this crazy instrument. And how this works is you get, here's my sound effects folder, I think we've got some, you simply drop sound files onto different keys. So I'll drop that onto the A key. Let's go get some more. I think they're in my downloads folder. There's the frog. Put that on the S. This was that track that we made in a previous exercise with Wolfram tones. We've got Frogs Forever, that was sort of almost like a white noise sound. Frog Croaking, there's another one. Can't remember what that 7 was. Should we find out what that was? Oh, it's the hunt. Okay, let's put that in. So I can fill up all my keys if I want with this. Now, when it comes to playing this, if I was to, which is the shortest one, maybe S. If I press S again, it starts again. But I can also alter the volume of that and press S. I can also alter the speed, so I can slow it down on the fly. And I can make that speed a random thing, so that every time I press it, I'm getting a slightly different thing. And I can also add reverb. I forgot where reverb is. It's around here. So here we go. So I can add lots of reverb. And start. So I can now somewhere I can record. So let's press some of the other keys. See, I'm pressing W. That's interesting. So I've slowed it right down. I could even pan it to the left or right. I can apply really strange filters. Let's try an R in there. Let's slow that. Let's slow that down like this. Sounds like a dinosaur, doesn't it? So I can set lots of dinosaurs going and then start my spooky waves going again. So I can have a practice. I can play this. I can use small little drum loops. I can use instrument sounds. I can put them together, and then how do I stop? Oh yeah, you can stop these by clicking them and taking them out of their play. So at the point at which I then want to create a composition, if you like, I can start recording. And there. So I could leave this to run and play out, and using all these natural sounds, I've got something that I could almost use on a nature documentary, or maybe something more fictional. So what we've done is we've learned how to find sounds, how to quickly edit sounds, and you can have lots of fun with Audacity. And then when you've got lots of little samples together, you can then start to use those in a composition. And we will look at other ways of doing this and incorporating perhaps more musical MIDI commands and synthesizing things in the next session. So go and have some fun with this, it's hilarious.